At this time, I'd like to ask everyone to please rise for our national anthem. Welcome to the 2012 Veterans Day program. I am Jack Minter. I am the president of the class of 2015. We have put a lot of hard work and effort and time into this program, and we hope you enjoy it. Thank you.
Hello, welcome and thank you for coming to our 2012 Veterans Day program. It is a true honor to host this every year in remembrance of all that have served in the armed forces. I truly feel blessed to just be in the presence of these honorable men and women here with us today. Thank you once again for all you have done. I'd like to say something about Veterans Day. It was the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month in 1918 when an armistice was declared between the Allied nations and Germany. This was commemorated as Armistice Day the following year. On November 11th, it became a national federal holiday in the U.S. in 1938. Later on, it was changed to named as Veterans Day, a holiday dedicated to American veterans of all wars. Thank you. I would now like to introduce Leah Binion, who will be singing God Bless America.
What you are about to see here is a finished product of a project made by the U.S. History class. A few months ago, we were introduced to the Veterans History Project. This project was developed by the Library of Congress to preserve veteran stories. For the first part of this project, we were split up into groups so we could research all of the wars America has participated in. Then as a group, we picked one war to research in further detail. We put all the information we found into a Keynote or iMovie. The second part of the project was to go out and interview a local veteran. So please give your full attention to the screen, and I hope you enjoy our project.
America, a country with a bloody past on a mission to a brighter future. This documentary is a tribute to all those who have sacrificed their lives for the freedom for these United States.
Civil War by Dawn Good, Jason Dixon, Cameron Matson, Kristen Cradell, Becca Singleton, Madison Stafford, and Delaney Shively.
The North was known as the Union, which is a term that means together. During the war, North had African Americans and whites fighting along one another. The South called the Confederates were against the freedom of African Americans. All of the slaves were freed because the Union won the Civil War. If the Confederates won the war, the states would all be separate territories. Thus, the United States would be completely different today.
World War I by Cheyenne Wheeler, Paola Venegas, Justin Watkins, Dawn Miller, Courtney Hanks, and Ryan Dewitt.
Archduke of Austria-Hungary was assassinated by a Serb on June 28, 1914. This was a formal start of the war. Beginning of the war, the U.S. had a goal of keeping peace with everyone and not enter the war.
The U.S. entered World War I on April 6, 1917.
The sinking of the Lusitania caused the U.S. to join World War I.
War ends, causing destruction and thousands of deaths.
World War II, created by Lucas MacGyver, Joel Worthington, Shane Miller, Nick Minix, Zach Johnston, Emma Turner, and Lacey Wood. World War II started when Germany invaded Poland on September 1st, 1939. The U.S. joins the war on December 8, 1941, after Japan bombs Pearl Harbor.
Super headline after Pearl Harbor attacks. The headlines of New York World Telegram on Monday, December 8, 1941, announced the attacks on Pearl Harbor.
USS Arizona Memorial. The front of the USS Arizona Memorial is seen from the harbor. The Arizona is not just a memorial, it is also a tomb. Bodies of over 900 sailors and Marines killed during the attack remain aboard the sunken ship.
While our troops were trying to storm the beaches of Normandy,
June 6, 1944, 160,000 Allied troops landed along a 50-mile stretch of heavily fortified French coastline to fight Nazi Germany on the beaches of Normandy, France. General Dwight D. Eisenhower called the operation a crusade in which we all accept nothing less than full victory. More than 5,000 ships and 13,000 aircraft supported the D-Day invasion, and by day's end on June 6th, Allied gained a foothold in Normandy.
June 1945, the United States and Soviet Union, allies in World War II, made plans to jointly occupy Korea following the defeat of Japan. Soviet troops will occupy the northern half portion of the country, and the United States will take the southern half, with the 38th parallel serving as the dividing line between the two zones of occupation.
Currently, there are approximately 28,000 troops stationed in South Korea. Their purpose is to enforce the border between the two countries and aid the South Koreans if fighting were to erupt again.
The Vietnam War by Caitlin Smith, Michelle Monroe, Katie Watts, Kevin Avery, Justin White, and Ian Hunter.
Persian Gulf by Hunter McCoy, Jared Coleman, and Justin Fields.
The Highway of Death refers to a 6-lane highway between Kuwait and Iraq, officially known as Highway 80. It runs from Kuwait City to the border of the town of Safwan. During United Nations coalition offensive in the Gulf War, retreating Iraqi military personnel and others escaping Kuwait were attacked on Highway 80 by American aircraft and ground forces on the night of February 26th and 27th of 1991. Resulting in the destruction of hundreds of vehicles and the deaths of many of their occupants. The death toll from the attack is unknown and still remains a controversial issue. Some independent estimates go as high as even 10,000 or even tens of thousands of casualties.
Afghanistan by T.J. Mammon, Kat Dunlap, Kaylee Higgs, and Ben Korchbach.
The war began on October 7, 2001. It's still going on until this day.
The purpose of war was to capture Bin Laden, destroy Al-Qaeda, and remove the Taliban regime.
Shadows almost killed your light.
Some of the reasons for joining the war were accomplished. We have killed Bin Laden, but we have not gotten rid of the terrorists. The Iraq War by Austin Manns, Kayla Mills, Blake Burford, and Anthony Hughes. Led by President George W. Bush, was to preemptively attack Saddam's forces and neutralize all threats of WMD against America and any other country. It was 2003 when Bush launched the invasion on Iraq. The mission, to find weapons of mass destruction. More than 140,000 U.S. soldiers were sent into the battle for the initial invasion. One of the Taliban's main weapons were IEDs, or implemented explosive devices, that are set on the side of the roads waiting for Humvees or any other vehicle to pass over and potentially kill anyone near or around it. By the end of 2010, America was finally able to pull out basically all their troops from Iraq. There is still today a war going on in Iraq, but on December 21st, 2010, Iraq finally approved of a new government. This allowed America to pull the rest of the troops out of war. and setting a milestone marker for Iraq for its journey to become a better place. I would like to end by thanking all who have died for our freedom in America. Thank you for watching and have a great day.
No matter what the price,
As a way to recognize veterans in attendance today and honor them for their service, we would like to read each name. If those veterans who are able, please stand when your name is called, and if the audience would please hold your applause until the end. Neil Berg, Navy. Freddie Baker, U.S. Army. Sidney Awad, Merchant Marines. Paul Furch, Army. E. Dewey Anderson, Army. Mike Jones, Army. Richard Jensen, Army. Richard Schaefer, United States Marine Corps. William Lovins, United States Marine Corps. Ray Dizan, Strategic Army Corps. Lester Meadows, United States Marine Corps. Henry Smith, United States Marine Corps. Lehman Hardesty, Army. Wayne Berg, Army. Joe Denny, U.S. Army. Richard Reed, U.S. Army. Paul Jensen, U.S. Army. Craig Lausen, U.S. Air Force. Yurt Saylor, Army. John Meadows, U.S. Air Force. Ariadne Demetrius, Army. Hobart Martin, U.S. Army. Joe Edwards, Army. Jim Midler, Army. Frank Ross, Army. Denise Ballman, Air Force. And Rudy Tangler, Navy. John Jeffers, U.S. Army. And today we would like to honor veteran Ray Hancock, who passed away just recently. Thank you.
Thank you, Delaney. Now, I would like to introduce you all to someone that you might all know. He was a police officer for 26 years, and of those 26 years, 17 of them, he was a DARE officer, 8 years chief deputy, 2 years sergeant. He finally retired in 2010 and now works at Oregon-Davis as the school resource officer. Please give a warm round of applause to Officer Freddie Baker.
Thank you very much and welcome. I'm truly humbled and honored to be asked to speak today at such a historic event. I was asked to talk about my experience in the military. As a little boy, I would play Army using toy trucks, soldiers and tanks, and toy guns. I always won, and G.I. Joe was my hero. As I got older, I was always told that there would come a time when I would be asked to serve my country in the military either by enlisting or being drafted. In May of 1966, I graduated Knox High School. On September 5th, 1966, my birthday, I turned 18 and had to go to the Selective Service Office and sign up for the draft. I was classified 1A, ready to serve. Not being able to get a gainful job because at that time, most employers would not hire you for fear that you were going to get drafted and be deployed to the military service. The Vietnam War was raging at this time, and most young men my age were being drafted or sent to war. In July 1967, I enlisted into the Army. December 20th, 1967, I went to Vietnam. I was just 18 years old. Vietnam was a politician's war, hated by most Americans. Vietnam saw a lot of young men fleeing to Canada to avoid the draft. I felt then, as I do now, that it was my duty to serve my country and go where and do as I was told, even if I did not agree with the war. I found out real fast that war was not a game, and bullets and bombs were real. I found what it was like to take someone else's life. I found what it was like to lose a fellow soldier. Life was very lonely, as any of these soldiers before, during, and after me would tell you. You did not make friends during the war for fear of losing them. I was in 5 battles during my tour of duty in Vietnam. Who was the enemy? That was a good question. During the Tet Offensive of 1967, which was at Christmas time, our barber, who was a civilian, was killed across the street from where I was at. I never questioned why we were in Nam. I was proud to serve my country, to stop communism over there before it got to the United States of America. When I came home in January 1968, I was shocked at how I and other soldiers were treated. We were called baby killers. I had to be escorted through O'Hare Airport by police. As I look back on my military duty, while not always pleasant, it certainly was a growing up experience and has made me a better person because of it. America is the greatest nation on this earth despite its faults. Because the men and women before and after me, and the men and women who served with me, and the men and women serving now in the armed forces, the United States of America will forever be the greatest country in the world. To my comrades, present, today, past and future, I salute you. Thank you for your service. And may God always bless the United States of America. Thank you.
Thank you. I now would like to show everyone the second part of our project. The second part was to go out and interview several veterans. We took parts of those interviews and put them into a short film for you. Please enjoy.
What are some of the things from this experiences that stand out in your memory?
Good friendships. I met a lot of decent people from a lot of different backgrounds, a lot of different cultures, and it didn't matter. I was a little bit older than a lot of other soldiers who I went through basic training with, but veterans as far as leadership, especially from me coming from police work. So I would say that probably friendships that I made when I was in the service stood out a lot.
Any life lessons? Anything that stuck with you?
Well, sure. To respect for everybody and to do your best.
What was it like your first day getting in Korea? What do you remember from that day?
The first day in Korea,
Yeah.
like 99% of all people, scared to death.
Would I do it all over again was, it was incredibly unfair for me to get married and then go into the submarine force. I was away from my wife an awful lot, and it wasn't fair to her. Ken, our son, our only son, he was 3 months old before I first saw him. I wasn't there when he was born. We went out to sea. My wife was still pregnant. She was getting ready to deliver in like a month and a half, whatever. And I get back, and there's a little stroller on the pier waiting for me.
What was it like when Japan bombed Pearl Harbor?
I was in high school then. That's a good question. What was it like? Everybody was surprised, taken. I was in high school. I was come home and my folks hadn't even heard of it yet. Nobody's expected it, I guess.
Do you remember arriving and what was it like?
And we're
In Korea.
well, Korea stunk worse than a hog pen. So, we got off the boat and they marched us, told us what they had, semi trucks that you load on like cattle. They told when you go up there, they tell you what's your number to get on. They didn't tell you where to go. Where you was going, that was it.
And you get to work with different people, and, that are equally motivated, and everyone in their respective fields were expected to be at the very top or near top, striving towards being. I gotta get better at this, or geez, I can't be as slow. Just sit here and let somebody else do the work. You have to jump in, that type of stuff too.
What was it like in the service?
Oh, I loved it. I went trading for the world.
Did you make a lot of friends while you were in the service?
Oh yeah, lots of friends. Yeah, lots of acquaintances, I'd say, because, when you're on a ship, everyone's dependent on you to stay alive. That's just the way it is, and you form bonds and stuff. But as far as friends, yeah, while you're there, but it doesn't really last. Because you got so many. There's a lot of people, and it's hard to keep track of everyone and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
A little bit less than 4 years.
What does it mean to you?
I like being a soldier. I don't like being a veteran. And part of it is from many other veterans who served. I find a lot of problems now being a veteran. Like I said, I like being a soldier, being a veteran. I deal with a lot of problems with Department of Veterans Affairs as far as healthcare and physical problems that I have. I don't seem to get a lot of success in dealing with them.
What I like to see more government money and stuff for our veterans, because we're getting an awful lot of wounded veterans home. Not only wounded, but mentally wounded too. And more projects in that way, because they need to improve on a lot of VA hospitals and stuff like that. And I want to see our government get more involved in that, quit messing with VA benefits.
I would now like to introduce Christina Merriman, who is going to be singing America the Beautiful.
Oh, beautiful, for spacious skies, for amber waves of grain, for purple mountains, majesties above the fruited plain. America, America, God shed His grace on thee, and crown thy good with brotherhood from sea to shining sea. Oh, beautiful for heroes proved and liberating strides, who more than self their country loved, and mercy more than life. America, America, God shed His grace on thee, and crown thy good with brotherhood from sea to shining sea, and crown thy good with brotherhood from sea to shining sea.
Thank you very much. Now, we are getting to the end of our program, and I would like to introduce Katie Watts, our Student Council representative of Class 2015. She will be leading us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Please rise.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Now, Jackson Green will play taps.
Vice President of Class of 2015. I would like to thank the community for coming and participating with the program. And I would like to say that we appreciate Class of 2015, FFA Group, American Literature class, and the Food Chem class for making this day happen. And last, I would like to thank the veterans for the service and sacrifices for our country. And on Sunday, this Sunday at 12:30 p.m., there's a Veterans Parade that is happening in Knox, and it is from Redskin Trail to
Washington Street.